Okay, all my family and friends on Facebook, and some who totally disagree with almost everything I say. First of all, I want to say I've been doing videos and probably have gained a little bit of know how, maybe. So I thought instead of writing something, which is what I usually do when I have some thoughts, uh, I thought I would put them on Facebook with a video. Well, first of all, I was born in 1934. And 1934 was the year that the FBI decided that they could put a hurt on the mafia or any other organized crime simply by bringing in all their cohorts into the FBI offices and ask them questions. Well, if they told a lie or even made a mistake, they could be accused and taken to court and possibly jailed for 5 to 8 years. I remember this because it was the same year I was born. But I do remember a lot of people talking about it in the latter part of the war and in the late 1940s. And people were scared of this. They were scared to death of it because they knew that this could be applied to anybody, not just organized crime or mafia or such. Over the years, this thing has been modified with additions to it till now it is at a place where the individual can be drug into the FBI and found guilty of lying, even if they weren't lying and they only had a lack of memory. That's not exactly what the Constitution calls for. You know, Ayn Rand wrote a little thing called a hanging tree, where Joe Blow walked by the hanging tree every day on his way to work, and lo and behold, one morning, there's Bill hanging from the hanging tree. The next day he walked to work, there's Julian hanging from the hanging tree. And every day he said, well, that's a shame. I really feel bad about that, but it's not really my business. It's no problem of mine. It's not, I can't worry about other people's problems. Well, another day went by, and Mary Jo walked by, and she looked up at the hanging tree, and there hung me. So it was my problem now. Yep. So this is what the writers of the Constitution feared when they made us sovereign citizens, and when they set up the law system to be the way it is, where I don't get punished for the crime I committed to somebody else by having them hang me from a tree. The whole system was to protect me from the government. It was to protect me from the person who had been badly wronged and is looking for revenge. There's no revenge in our law. It was never written into it. It is in a lot of countries. It is in the Middle East. Revenge is a big part of their law. You harm me and I get to kill you or cut your head off or whatever. Well, it doesn't happen in this country. Well, people worried about it back then. They were really, I remember hearing people say, man, that is really dangerous to have that possibility of our government doing that to us. That's like what they did in Germany. That's like in 1929. That's like what they did in Russia in the Bolshevik Revolution. In 1948, we saw a little bit of the results of that. It was in the movies. There wasn't any TV, so and we heard it all on radio. People like Gabriel Heater and God knows how many others who not only were news reporters but propagandized for the government whenever they got a chance. When in 1948, when we, the Allies, went hunting for Germans who were officers in the German army, in the government, and we went looking for the crimes they committed. Well, that's You know, that's totally against American law. You can't pick a man and then go looking for the crime he committed. You have to go looking for a crime, and then somebody may turn up who committed the crime, and you prosecute him. What happened in the Nuremberg trials was they used European law that was totally against American law, and a lot of news people were upset over that. Well, today we got our own damn government doing that. It's totally un-American. It's totally unconstitutional. When you look at the safeguards that are in our law to protect against a person being picked and then prosecuted for some crime they may or may not have committed, or maybe just telling a lie or a falsehood. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm really angry over this. And I can promise this. As a Tea Party member, a Constitutionalist, and a Republican, the next time we get a Democrat elected to the presidency, I'm going to do everything I can to help drag his family, children, all of his relatives, all of his business partners, all of his friends, everybody I can into the FBI to see if we can force them to tell a lie so we can threaten them with jail if they don't turn that president in. This is what we've come to in America. This can be done by either party, and it can be done by both parties. So we could spend the next 100 years fighting each other's presidents in the courtrooms. So you Democrats out there ought to be thinking about this. This is going to cost you as well as Republicans. And you have ruined many of the families that have supported our president and my president. So anyway, we'll see how this goes in the future. Now we have the Nuremberg trials that ended in 1948, began in 1946 and ended in 1948. In 1948, we amended our laws against the FBI prosecuting people for lying to the FBI again to do exactly what the Nuremberg trials did. It took 3 years to imprison all the German officers and all the German government officials that we could find. It took 3 years to prosecute them and hang them, jail them, whatever needed to be done. And the press was really upset over that because we did something that Europeans do, not what Americans do. Well, now we have a president who maybe a guy had sex with the woman down the street and he refused to tell his wife and didn't want her to know. And the FBI says, "Did you ever have sex with another woman?" And the guy says, "Well, no, I didn't. I don't want to go. I don't want to find my way in divorce court." So he lies to the FBI, and he can go to jail for that for 5 years or 8 years. I think maybe they've changed it, lowered it back down to 5 years where it originally was. I'm not sure. But anyway, another party, political party, said, I wonder what crime he committed. Donald Trump must have committed a crime. He's a Republican. He's a conservative. There must be crime. He's a businessman. There must be crime involved. So they spent 3 years looking for a damn crime the man committed, and they couldn't. And it took the same length of time to convict people of terrible crimes. The starving and gassing of Jews and Poles and the millions murdered in Russia. And in 3 years to look for something that's beginning to look like never happened. And even if it did, would it be legal to convict him? I don't think so. I think we've stepped way, way, way far away from what our Constitution has demanded of us. So all I can tell you is, because they understood politics. They knew European politics because Europe's governments was full of politics. It was nothing for them to hang somebody over there because they might have said something nasty about the king or one of the high priests or whatever. It's bad, bad business. I'm going to tell you what. It's bad when we who are supposed to know better and highly educated young men and women who are now voting and were never taught anything about this kind of thing. They don't even know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I got this off my chest, and I'm sorry if you don't like it. Happy if you do. So, think about it anyway. Okay. Have a good day. Bye-bye.